Today we're stepping away from the glittering ballrooms of Regency London and into the quieter months that history rarely talks about, when the social season ended and the aristocracy vanished from the city. Their lives did not stop. They simply transformed. The music faded, the chandeliers dimmed, and noble families returned to vast country estates where a different rhythm awaited them. What Regency nobility did when the season ended, when we imagine the Regency era, we usually picture glittering ballrooms, chandeliers glowing in candlelight, orchestras playing waltzes, and aristocrats gliding across polished floors. The London season, that whirlwind of social events, dominates our image of Regency high society. But the season lasted only a few intense months. So what happened during the rest of the year? What did the nobility do when the parties stopped, the carriages left London, and the grand houses closed their doors? The answer reveals a quieter world, one filled with travel, estate management, hobbies, rituals, and carefully structured daily life. Outside the season, aristocratic life slowed, but it did not become idle. In many ways, it became more revealing. Tonight, we step away from the ballrooms and into the private rhythm of Regency noble life, leaving London when the season ended. Typically in early summer, the nobility departed London in waves. The city, once crowded with coaches and visiting families, began to empty. Aristocrats returned to their country estates. These estates were not simple homes. They were self-contained worlds, sprawling houses surrounded by thousands of acres of farmland, woodland, gardens, and villages, inhabited by tenants and servants. Some estates had existed for centuries, passed down through generations. The journey back itself was an event. Travel in the early 1800s was slow and deliberate. Families packed enormous quantities of clothing, books, furniture, and personal items. Servants traveled ahead to prepare the estate for arrival. When the noble family finally reached their country house, the rhythm of life shifted immediately. London's glitter was replaced by routine. Managing the estate for noblemen especially, estate management was not optional. It was a duty. A large estate required constant oversight. Income came from tenant farmers, rents, timber sales, and agricultural production. The aristocracy depended on these revenues to sustain their lifestyle. Landowners reviewed financial accounts, met with stewards, inspected fields, and negotiated leases. Agricultural improvement was a serious interest during the Regency era. Progressive nobles experimented with crop rotation, drainage systems, and new farming technologies. Some treated estate management like a science. They read agricultural journals, corresponded with experts, and invested heavily in innovation. A well-run estate was a mark of intelligence and modernity. Failure, on the other hand, could lead to debt and embarrassment. A world of servants behind every elegant estate stood an invisible army of servants. During the off-season, servants did not rest. They maintained the house year-round. Fireplaces were cleaned, silver was polished, linens were aired, furniture was protected from damp, gardens were pruned and replanted. When the family returned, the household expanded to full operation. Butler, housekeeper, footmen, maids, cooks, grooms, gardeners, each had defined responsibilities. The smooth functioning of the house depended on strict hierarchy and discipline. Noble families rarely performed domestic tasks themselves. Their time was reserved for social and intellectual pursuits, and there were many. Social visits and country hospitality. Although the season was over, social life did not disappear. It simply became more intimate. Families visited neighboring estates, sometimes staying for weeks at a time. These visits followed strict etiquette. Guests brought servants, luggage, and wardrobes appropriate for extended stays. Country house visits revolved around shared meals, card games, music, and conversation. Gentlemen hunted or rode horses. Ladies walked in the gardens, sketched landscapes, or practiced music. Dinner remained the central event of the day. A well-executed dinner demonstrated refinement and status. Hosts took pride in elaborate menus and carefully arranged seating. Hospitality was a form of social currency. To entertain well was to maintain one's reputation. Travel and seaside retreats some nobles did not stay home at all. Travel was fashionable and considered educational. Wealthy families toured the countryside, visited historic ruins, or traveled to spa towns like Bath. Known for its mineral waters and social atmosphere, seaside resorts gained popularity during the Regency period. Places like Brighton attracted aristocrats seeking fresh air and relaxation. Sea bathing was believed to improve health, and physicians encouraged it. These trips blended leisure with status display. One was expected to be seen in the right places, even outside London. Travel also reinforced social networks. Encounters at spas or resorts often resembled miniature seasons, with dancing, promenades, and carefully observed courtship rituals. Education and accomplishments, the off-season was ideal for personal improvement. Young women practiced accomplishments considered essential for marriage prospects. Piano, singing, drawing, French, embroidery, and polite conversation. Governesses supervised lessons daily. Young men studied riding, fencing, classical literature, and estate management. Some prepared for military or political careers. Others attended university or traveled as part of a grand tour style education, though this tradition had declined after the Napoleonic Wars. Intellectual pursuits were fashionable. Reading aloud was a popular evening activity. Families shared novels, poetry, and newspapers. discussions of politics and philosophy were common among educated circles. The Regency elite valued wit and intelligence almost as much as beauty. Hunting and outdoor life, autumn and winter, brought the hunting season, one of the most important social rituals for aristocratic men. Fox hunting was not simply sport, it was identity. Hunts required expensive horses, specialized clothing, and access to large tracts of land. Participation signaled wealth and belonging. Entire communities revolved around hunting calendars. Women also rode, though participation varied by family. Even those who did not hunt often attended gatherings afterward. Beyond hunting, estate life included shooting parties, fishing, riding, and long walks. Nature was romanticized during the Regency era, influenced by emerging artistic movements that celebrated landscapes and emotion. Country life allowed nobles to perform a carefully curated version of rustic simplicity without ever abandoning comfort. Charity and local authority aristocrats were not merely residents of their estates. They were local authorities. They funded churches, schools, and relief efforts for the poor. During harsh winters or crop failures, tenants depended on noble generosity. A respected landowner balanced authority with paternalistic care. This relationship reinforced social hierarchy. Nobles were expected to lead, judge disputes, and maintain order. Their presence shaped village life. Absentee landlords, those who neglected their estates, were criticized. Responsible stewardship enhanced a family's reputation. Bye, we will meet again.